Self-belief isn't something the world hands you. It isn't something you wake up with one day because life suddenly becomes easier. It isn't a spark that appears out of nowhere. It's a discipline, a practice, a decision you make long before you feel ready. Most people don't understand this, and that's why they stay stuck. They sit around waiting for confidence to magically arrive, waiting for motivation to kick in, waiting for life to feel right before they take action. And that is exactly why they never start. They're waiting for an emotion that only appears after discipline, never before it. Think about the times in your life when you doubted yourself. You didn't doubt because you were weak. You doubted because you had no evidence to support belief. Belief is built the same way strength is built, through repeated work. When you show up every day, even when you don't feel like it, something inside you shifts. When you keep a promise to yourself, no matter how small, your brain registers it. You start stacking proof that you can rely on yourself, proof that you follow through, proof that you are not the same person you used to be. That is how belief grows. Not from compliments, not from reassurance, not from inspiration, but from action. Quiet, consistent, unglamorous action. People think belief is some warm, emotional feeling. No, it's a cold, hard commitment. It's waking up and saying, I don't care how I feel. I don't care how hard it looks. I don't care how long it takes. I'm doing it. That is belief. That is how winners are made. You think champions feel confident every day. You think disciplined people feel motivated every day. Absolutely not. They built belief from a lifetime of doing things they didn't want to do. They built belief by taking control of their emotions instead of waiting for their emotions to push themselves. Belief is the blueprint of your entire identity. It shapes the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you think, the way you handle failure, the way you respond to challenges. A man with self-belief enters a room differently. He isn't arrogant, he isn't loud, he isn't trying to be noticed. His discipline has already created an internal gravity. He trusts himself. And when you trust yourself, the world feels it. You don't have to announce your confidence, people sense it. They can see it in your consistency. They can see it in your standards. They can see it in the way you move, because everything you do becomes deliberate. But the problem is, most people break their own belief without even knowing it. Every time you set an alarm and hit snooze, you weaken it. Every time you say you'll start tomorrow and don't, you weaken it. Every time you choose comfort instead of progress, you weaken it. Your mind notices everything, even the things you think don't matter. Every excuse chips away at the identity you're trying to build. And the worst part is you begin to internalize it. You begin to believe you're the kind of person who doesn't follow through. You begin to believe you're incapable. You begin to believe you're destined to stay exactly where you are. But imagine if you flip that. Imagine if you started collecting proof that you are reliable. Imagine waking up and doing what you said you'd do, not because it feels good, but because it's who you are. Imagine how different you'd walk if your brain trusted you. That is what people don't understand. Self-belief isn't about hype, it's about identity. When you consistently behave like the person you want to become, you eventually become him. You don't wait for belief before taking action. You take action so belief has something to stand on, and slowly, without you even noticing, everything changes. You look in the mirror and you don't see the same person anymore. Your habits are different. Your decisions are different. Your energy is different. Your standard is different. Self-belief becomes the foundation for every step you take. Not because life got easier, but because you became disciplined enough to trust yourself even when life wasn't easy. Your mind talks more than anyone in your life, and the dangerous part is that you listen to it without questioning a single word. You've treated every thought as truth, every fear as fact, every doubt as reality. But here's the harsh lesson you were never taught. Your mind lies to you constantly. It exaggerates your weaknesses, minimizes your strengths, and convinces you that the safest path is the one that keeps you exactly where you are. It's not because your mind hates you. It's because it's built to protect you, not elevate you. Your mind is built for survival, not success. And survival requires comfort, while success requires the exact opposite. Think about every time you wanted to start something new. Your mind immediately listed all the things that could go wrong. You wanted to work out, and your mind told you that you were tired. You wanted to take a risk, and your mind told you it was too dangerous. You wanted to change your life, and your mind whispered that you weren't ready yet. Notice something. Your mind never tells you you're strong enough. It never tells you you're capable. It never tells you that the fear is lying. It simply gives you the easiest exit, the path of least resistance, the excuse that feels the most comfortable. And you accept it because it sounds logical. It sounds familiar. It sounds safe, but safety is the enemy of growth, and comfort is the enemy of greatness. Your mind is so used to protecting you that it has forgotten how to challenge you. It has forgotten how to push you. It has forgotten how to stretch you. And because of that, you've spent years listening to thoughts that were never designed to help you become the strongest version of yourself. The real battle isn't the world outside. It's the voice inside that tells you to slow down, to give up, to wait, to hide, to stay small. That voice isn't always your friend. Sometimes it's the biggest obstacle you have. You must learn to treat your thoughts like suggestions, not commands. When your mind tells you that you're too tired, you must ask, is that truth or just resistance? When it tells you that you're not good enough, you must ask based on what? When it tells you that you can't do it, you must challenge it by doing exactly what it told you not to do. Imagine how different your life would be if you stopped obeying every insecure whisper that came from your own head. Imagine what you could achieve if you understood that fear is often just a misinterpreted signal, not a stop sign. The most powerful people in the world are not the ones without doubt. They are the ones who recognize that their doubt is just noise. They feel the same fear, the same hesitation, the same uncertainty, but they refuse to let those thoughts dictate their actions. They've trained their mind like a muscle. They don't take their thoughts personally. They don't treat fear like a fact. They don't accept every negative idea as truth. They question everything, and in doing so, they separate real danger from imagined danger. That separation is what gives them power. Your mind will never stop producing doubt. It will never stop generating false stories. It will never stop creating excuses. But you can train yourself to see through it. You can build the awareness to say, I hear the fear, but I'm moving anyway. And every time you do, the mind loses a little bit of control. It becomes quieter, it becomes weaker, it becomes less convincing. You stop being manipulated by your own thoughts, and you start leading them instead of being led by them. That is the difference between someone who stays stuck and someone who rises. One listens to every fearful thought. The other understands that the mind is often wrong, and instead of obeying it, they act in spite of it. Once you realize that your thoughts are not commands but suggestions, you gain the ability to choose which ones you follow. You stop being controlled by fear and start being driven by purpose. And the moment you reach that level of awareness, everything about your life shifts, because you are no longer living under the influence of a mind designed for comfort. You are living under the leadership of a man designed for greatness. Pain is the one thing people spend their entire lives trying to avoid, yet it is the only thing that has ever transformed a human being into someone powerful. You've been taught to see pain as a warning sign, as something dangerous, as something that means you should stop. But what if you've been interpreting it wrong your entire life? What if pain isn't a punishment, but a message that you are breaking through limitations you were never meant to keep? Every time you feel discomfort, your instinct is to retreat, to withdraw, to run back to the familiar. And that is exactly why you stay the same. You've built a habit of escaping growth the moment it becomes uncomfortable. Look at the strongest people you admire, mentally, physically, emotionally. None of them became who they are by avoiding pain. They didn't rise by choosing comfort. They didn't strengthen their mind by prioritizing ease. They went directly into the things everyone else ran away from. They embraced the work, the struggle, the pressure, the uncertainty, the challenge. Because deep down, they understood something most people don't. Pain is the evidence that you are evolving. Growth is never silent. It comes with friction. It comes with resistance. It comes with the discomfort of leaving behind the identity you've outgrown. When you try something difficult and it hurts, that's not a sign to stop. That's the sign that you're stepping into territory your old self couldn't survive in. You're stretching, expanding, upgrading. Every time your body aches from discipline, every time your mind feels overwhelmed from responsibility, every time your emotions feel heavy from pushing yourself, that is the moment transformation is taking place. That is the moment the weaker version of you is being forced out. But most people interpret that sensation as failure. They think, this is too hard, I'm not built for this. And the truth is, they're not built for it yet. But pain is what builds them. Think back to the hardest moments of your life. The heartbreaks, the disappointments, the failures, the losses. Those moments carved strength into you that nothing else could have taught. They made you sharper, wiser, more aware, more resilient. But when you're going through pain, you don't see the transformation happening. You only see the discomfort. The growth becomes visible later, months, years, sometimes decades after. That's why pain feels cruel in the moment, but it's actually the purest form of self-elevation. Pain forces you to confront your weaknesses. It shows you where you're fragile. It exposes the parts of you that you've been pretending are strong. And that exposure is uncomfortable because it destroys the fantasy you've built about yourself. It reveals the truth, and the truth always hurts before it heals. When you lift a weight your muscles aren't ready for, they tear. That tearing is painful. But it's also the exact reason they grow back stronger. The same principle applies to your mind, your character, your destiny. Pressure breaks who you were so it can build who you must become. Every challenge you face, every rejection, every failure, every setback is a test designed to upgrade you. But you keep opting out of the test because the process is painful. You give up right before the version of you that you've been waiting for is created. You don't fail because you're incapable. You fail because you quit in the middle of your transformation. You stop when life is stretching you, when it's refining you, when it's strengthening you. But pain isn't the enemy. The avoidance of pain is. That avoidance steals your potential, kills your confidence, and suffocates your ambition. Imagine what your life would look like if you stopped fearing pain and started respecting it. Imagine seeing discomfort as a sign that you're on the correct path. Imagine valuing the struggle instead of resenting it. That alone would change everything. Because pain isn't there to break you. It's there to build you into someone unbreakable. Every moment of pain is a moment of progress. Every moment of discomfort is proof you are not the same as yesterday. And the sooner you understand that, the faster you rise. Listen carefully, because this is the turning point most people never reach. This is where average people tap out, where the weak give up, and where the ones who truly rise separate themselves from the masses. Everyone talks about goals. Everyone talks about dreams. Everyone talks about wanting a better life. But the universe doesn't reward wishes. It rewards consistency. It rewards the man who shows up even when his body is tired, even when his mind is exhausted, even when absolutely nobody is clapping for him. Discipline is the one thing that will drag you out of the life you hate and shove you into the life you want, whether you feel like it or not. And that's the part nobody likes hearing. Because people want motivation. They want excitement. They want that moment where everything clicks and they feel unstoppable. But let me tell you something uncomfortable. The days that transform your life are not the motivated days. They are the boring days, the silent days, the days where nothing seems to be changing and you still show up anyway. Those are the days that build a man. Those are the days that shape your character, sharpen your mind, test your resolve, and force you to confront every weakness you've been hiding from. Imagine waking up and everything in your body is telling you to stay in bed. Your brain is arguing with you. Your emotions are telling you it's pointless. But deep down, there's another voice, a quieter one, a tougher one. The voice that says get up anyway. That voice is your future self trying to pull you forward. That voice is discipline. And once you choose to obey that voice, once you choose to stand up when everything inside you says sit down, once you choose to take action without waiting for the perfect mood, the perfect moment, or the perfect plan, you start to become unstoppable. People say they want self-belief. People say they want confidence. People say they want strength. But they don't understand that all of those things come from doing difficult things repeatedly. You don't build belief in yourself by talking about it. You build it by proving to yourself that you can do what you said you would do. When you show up every single day, you create evidence. Evidence that you are dependable. Evidence that you are committed. evidence that you can trust yourself. And once you trust yourself, you become dangerous because most people can't even rely on their own word. Think about this. Every time you skip the work, you don't just lose progress, you lose respect for yourself. Every time you break a promise to yourself, you weaken the architecture of your mind. You make excuses easier. You make quitting easier. You make failure your default identity. But every time you push through resistance, every time you do the work even when you're not in the mood, you are building a different identity brick by brick. The identity of a winner. The identity of someone who does what needs to be done. The identity of a man who is in control of himself. And look, discipline isn't glamorous. It's not meant to be. It's repetitive. It's quiet. It's lonely. But that's why it works. Because everyone else falls off. Everyone else wants shortcuts. Everyone else wants the highlight reel without the grind behind it. But you're not everyone else. You're here because you know you're capable of more. You're here because deep inside you can feel the potential that hasn't been unlocked yet. And the key to unlocking it is daily commitment to something greater than your feelings. There will be days when you're tired, days when you're frustrated, days when you feel stuck, days when it feels like you're moving in slow motion. But discipline doesn't care. Discipline is about building momentum so strong that even your weakest days can't stop you. Discipline means you become a man who moves forward regardless of obstacles, regardless of setbacks, regardless of how you feel when you wake up. That's the mindset that takes you from talking about a better life to actually creating one. There comes a moment in every man's life when he realizes the biggest enemy he has ever faced isn't outside of him. It isn't the competition. It isn't the world. It isn't the circumstances he was born into. The real battle, the real war, the real fight is happening inside his own mind. And if you don't learn how to reprogram that mind, if you don't learn to control the thoughts that control your actions, you will spend your entire life fighting battles you were supposed to win easily. Because the truth is simple. Your mind will either be your strongest weapon or your biggest prison. And whether it becomes one or the other depends on the thoughts you feed it every single day. Most people walk around with a mind that works against them. A mind that whispers doubt. A mind that feeds fear. A mind that magnifies every setback and minimizes every strength. They let their past failures dictate their future. They let opinions shape their identity. They let insecurity control their destiny. They let fear talk them out of opportunities that were meant for them. And the worst part, they don't even realize they're doing it. They don't even notice the quiet self-destruction happening inside their own head. They think life is hard because the world is unfair. But in reality, they're trapped inside a mental cage built from their own beliefs. Imagine if your mind was conditioned to always find reasons why you can win instead of why you can't. Imagine if your thoughts were weapons instead of weaknesses. Imagine if every time doubt tried to creep in, discipline crushed it. Imagine if every time fear tried to whisper, confidence spoke louder. That version of you exists. It's not a fantasy, it's not a dream, it's not a motivational slogan. It's a mindset forged through repetition, built through conscious training, created through daily mental discipline. It starts with awareness. You have to be brutally honest with yourself. You have to acknowledge the voice in your head that limits you. That voice that says you're not ready. That voice that says it's too late. That voice that says you're not good enough. You can't fight an enemy you refuse to see. But once you see it, once you recognize how your thoughts have been shaping your reality, you gain power. You gain control. You gain the ability to reshape your inner world so your outer world finally reflects your potential. Every great man, every high achiever, every champion in any field has one thing in common. They trained their mind to reject weakness. They trained their mind to stay focused when others got distracted. They trained their mind to push when others broke. They trained their mind to believe in outcomes long before they ever saw results. And that belief is what carried them through storms. That belief is what kept them steady during setbacks. That belief is what made them unshakable. Your mind becomes whatever you repeatedly tell it. If you feed it excuses, it becomes weak. If you feed it fear, it becomes paralyzed. But if you feed it discipline, it becomes sharp. If you feed it confidence, it becomes unstoppable. And if you feed it belief, real belief, not the fake kind you say out loud but don't mean, your entire life begins to shift. You start seeing solutions instead of problems. You start seeing opportunities instead of obstacles. You start taking action without hesitation. You start becoming the kind of person who moves with certainty, with purpose, with intention. Reprogramming your mind means refusing to let negative thoughts live rent-free in your head. It means choosing your identity instead of inheriting it from your environment. It means stepping into the role of the man you want to be before the world recognizes you as that man. And yes, it's uncomfortable. Growth always is. But that discomfort is the price you pay for becoming mentally unshakable. You can choose comfort or you can choose strength, but you can't choose both every day. You have two choices. Let your mind control you or take control of your mind. One leads you to a life of regret, the other leads you to a life of power. And the moment you choose to master your thoughts, everything around you begins to change. There comes a point in your journey where motivation alone isn't enough. Inspiration isn't enough. Good intentions aren't enough. You can listen to 1,000 speeches, read every book, repeat every quote, and still remain the exact same person you were last year if you never make the decision to become unbreakable. Because life isn't interested in your potential. Life tests your strength. Life pushes you. Life pressures you. Life exposes the weak parts of you that you've been pretending don't exist. And the truth is, if you don't actively build the strongest version of yourself, the world will gladly show you just how fragile you really are. Being unbreakable doesn't mean you don't feel pain. It doesn't mean you never get tired. It doesn't mean you walk around with some fake bravado pretending everything is perfect. Being unbreakable means that no matter how hard life hits, no matter what challenges stand in your way, no matter who abandons you, betrays you, doubts you, or misunderstands you, you don't collapse. You don't lose yourself. You don't fold under pressure. You stand firm. You adjust. You adapt. You move forward with the same determination you had before the storm arrived. But that kind of strength is not something you suddenly discover one day. It is built, brick by brick, day by day, through choices, habits, discipline, and mindset. You build the unbreakable version of yourself the same way a warrior builds his armor. Piece by piece, layer by layer, through repetition, through struggle, through discomfort. And every time you choose discipline over laziness, every time you choose courage over fear, every time you choose to show up when everything in you wants to quit, you add another layer of armor around your character. The unbreakable version of you is forged in the moments nobody sees. The early mornings when you drag yourself out of bed, the late nights when you grind while everyone else is sleeping, the lonely days when you sacrifice comfort for growth, the private battles you fight in your own head. These are the moments that shape you. Not the loud victories, but the quiet choices. Not the applause, but the discipline. Not the recognition, but the resilience you build in silence. And here's the part most people never understand. Strength is not built from what goes right. Strength is built from what goes wrong. The heartbreaks, the disappointments, the failures, the setbacks, the times you felt lost, confused, directionless, the nights you sat alone questioning everything, the moments where you felt like nothing was working no matter how hard you tried. These experiences don't break you unless you allow them to. In fact, they are the raw materials required to build someone powerful, someone sharp, someone who can handle pressure without shaking every time you survive something that was designed to break you. You evolve. You learn something about yourself. You discover skills you didn't know you had. You uncover strength you didn't know lived inside you. And slowly, piece by piece, you stop being the version of yourself that crumbles under difficulty. You start becoming the version that turns difficulty into fuel. The version that doesn't run away from tough situations, but faces them head on because you understand that pressure creates diamonds and you were born to shine under pressure, not crack under it. Building the unbreakable version of yourself also means cutting out the habits that weaken you. The laziness, the doubt, the overthinking, the excuses, the distractions. The people who drain your energy and contribute nothing to your growth. The environments that keep you small. The routines that keep you stagnant. You cannot become strong while living a life that encourages weakness. You cannot step into power while holding on to patterns that sabotage you. You cannot build an unbreakable mindset while feeding your mind things that destroy your confidence. You have to rise above the things that used to control you. You have to rise above the things that used to intimidate you. You have to rise above the old version of yourself that settled for mediocrity. Because the unbreakable version of you is waiting on the other side of sacrifice, on the other side of discipline, on the other side of consistency. And once you become that version, once you step into that strength, once you feel what it's like to truly trust yourself, you never want to go back to weakness again. You never want to return to the old habits, the old excuses, the old doubt. You realize how powerful you really are when you stop breaking under pressure. And now we've come full circle. From the moment you pressed play to this final second, everything you've heard has been building toward one truth. You are not meant to live your life doubting yourself, questioning your purpose, or wasting the strength you were born with. You are meant to rise. You are meant to push. You are meant to grow. You are meant to become the version of yourself that stops hiding, stops hesitating, stops shrinking, and finally steps into the life you've always felt was waiting for you. Deep down, you already know you are capable of more. You can feel it. You can sense it. Every time you've been frustrated with yourself, every time you've looked in the mirror and knew you were selling yourself short, every time you felt you were made for something bigger, that wasn't imagination. That was your potential trying to get your attention. Everything you learned in these keynotes has been guiding you toward that version of you who doesn't just believe in himself, but proves that belief through action. The version who doesn't run from difficulty, but grows stronger because of it. The version who doesn't allow fear to dictate his decisions. The version who doesn't break under pressure, but rises through pressure. The version who understands that life isn't happening to him, life is responding to him. You have seen what mindset can transform. You have seen how belief reshapes identity. You have seen how discipline crafts character. You have seen how purpose stabilizes direction. You have seen how resilience builds strength. And you have seen how every piece of your journey, every victory, every failure, every doubt, every breakthrough has been preparing you for this moment, because right now you are standing at the crossroads between who you've been and who you can become. And no one else gets to choose for you. Not your past, not your circumstances, not your fears, not the people who underestimated you. The choice is yours, and it always has been. You can walk back into the life that keeps you small, or you can step forward into a version of yourself that refuses to live invisible, refuses to collapse under pressure, refuses to let another day pass without fighting for the life you want. You are capable. You are stronger than you think. You are more prepared than you realize. And the belief you've been searching for is not something that magically appears. It is something you build through action, through discipline, through commitment. The world doesn't need another average man who wastes his time and doubts his potential. The world needs the version of you who shows up with fire, certainty, intention, and purpose. The version who refuses to break. The version who refuses to quit. The version who finally understands that everything he wants begins the moment he decides he deserves it. This is your moment. This is your shift. This is the point in your life where you stop waiting for permission and start creating your own path. Believe in yourself because no one else can walk your journey for you. Believe in yourself because you've already survived things that would have broken a weaker man. Believe in yourself because the future you're dreaming about is real the moment you decide to chase it with everything you have. Believe in yourself because you can do this, and deep down, you already know it